Hi, I'm Claire and this is my autumn reading list. As you may know if you've been on the channel for a while, I do not usually do TBR videos where I talk about the books that I'm planning to read for the upcoming month. This is because I never get through TBR lists when I make them. The sad thing about that is that I really love putting together lists of things for myself to read. I find it really exciting. I also love to watch other people's TBR videos. I like the continuity of getting a TBR video at the beginning of the month and then wrap up at the end of the month. But that is something I know I've tried in the past and it does not work for me. So what I thought I would do is follow the example of my friends, the demographically similar Jennies. What they do on their podcast, the Reading the End bookcast, is that they do a reading list for the whole season instead of for just 1 month, and that way they can have that continuity where they go back to their reading list after a few months and they say what they got to and what they didn't get to, but then it's also not as much pressure, I guess. So I don't know that this is for sure going to work for me, but I'm really excited to try it out. And of course we're already a little bit into the autumn, but because there is still 2 months to go, I think it's actually alright. So on this here autumn reading list, I have 5 novels that I want to tell you about, and then like 1 novella that's a maybe, we'll see how it goes. So first up, I've got a few spooky Halloween themed things because of course we are going into October, and the first one of those is Undead Girl Gang by Lily Anderson. This is a novel about 2 best friends in high school who practice amateur witchcraft, so that's already pretty good for the Halloween theming. But then one of the 2 girls is found dead and the authorities are claiming that she died by suicide and that she and 2 other girls who died at the same time had a suicide pact. Our protagonist Mila does not actually believe that's what happened to her best friend Riley, and she wants to figure it out and get to the bottom of this. So of course what she does is she brings her friend and the other 2 girls back to life as undead girls. They don't remember what happened, but of course they are going to investigate it. There are a few things about this one that have piqued my interest. The first is that of course I am obsessed with zombie things and undead things, so that's right in my wheelhouse. And the other is that I've heard discussions of this on various book podcasts that I listen to, and one thing that was brought up again and again as an interesting theme in the book was the idea that Mila brings these girls back to life without their permission, and that provides some of the conflict in the book. And that's a really interesting conflict, you know, as someone who is a massive fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the idea that, you know, you'll bring someone back to life and that's maybe not the best thing for them. They didn't ask for any of this. Maybe they were just in heaven, you don't know. That is just something that, I don't know, piques my interest. Next up is Toriel and Trouble, 15 Tales of Women and Witchcraft, which is an anthology edited by Tess Sharp and Jessica Spotswood. This was one of my most anticipated releases of 2018. I was talking about this at the beginning of the year. It's a YA anthology about witches and witchcraft, which is of course perfect to read in October now that it's come out, so that one was a bit of a no-brainer, and I've been wanting to read more anthologies, so that is why this one is on the list. Next up is Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant. This is a mermaid-themed horror story. Mira Grant, for those of you who don't know, is a pseudonym for Shauna Maguire. Shauna Maguire is one of my favorite writers, and the stuff that she writes as Mira Grant is like really pretty cool and creepy, like medical horror. She wrote Feed, which is one of my favorite zombie books, and I am looking forward to some mermaid themed horror. In this one we follow a scientist who is part of an expedition to go investigate the disappearance of a submarine. 7 years ago, the submarine, the Atargatis, went down into the Mariana Trench to film a mockumentary about like weird sea creatures and mermaids and stuff like that, but they never came back, and a lot of people are going on this expedition for a lot of different reasons, of course, but our main character, Victoria, she's mostly going because her sister went missing on that previous expedition. And speaking of the previous expedition, there is also a novella called Rolling in the Deep, which is set like before Into the Drowning Deep in the series order, but I'm not sure if I can actually get my hands on a copy of it because it was published by a small press. Copies of it now are quite expensive, so if I can find a way to read Rolling in the Deep, I'll read that first, and if I can't, I'll just dive into the Drowning Deep. I believe it is alright to read Into the Drowning Deep on its own first, but I'm a completist, so. Next up is Pride by E.B. Zaboy. This is a modern retelling of Pride and Prejudice set in New York City. You don't even need to say any more. Like, I love a Jane Austen retelling, and I especially love a retelling that does a good job of transposing all of the class and wealth issues and stuff like that into the modern day. And from the reviews that I'm seeing for this book and what I'm hearing about it, it sounds like that's what this book is doing. Apparently it also brings in themes of gentrification and makes really interesting use of language, which are both things I'm quite interested in, so I'm really excited about this one. And finally, I've got Dragon's Code by Gigi McCaffrey. If you haven't seen my Worldcon vlogs, I picked this up for free at Worldcon 76. It is a new book in the Dragonriders of Pern series, which, as you may know if you've been watching this channel for a while, I was obsessed with when I was a teenager. I haven't read a new Pern book in a really, really long time, but I know just from what I remember of those books, which I used to read and reread a lot as a teenager, there are some things in those books that do not age well at all. Now, I'm really intrigued to check out Dragon's Code because of that, and also because, as far as I can tell, this is the first novel that Gigi McCaffrey has written in the Pern universe. I'm sure she has been involved in the Pern universe before because it's been a family affair for a really long time. When Anne McCaffrey decided to stop writing new books in the Pern universe, she collaborated with her son Todd McCaffrey, who went on to continue the series after, as I said, she stopped writing them, and then now after her death. But I'm not sure whether Gigi McCaffrey has written like prose in the Pern universe before. I don't know. I've been out of the fandom for a really long time, so I can't tell. If you know, let me know in the comments below. All of this is to say, I haven't read a new Pern book in a really, really long time. I'm very curious to see what this does, and I think it'd be a really interesting topic for a video to talk about the series in general, what it is about it that really doesn't age very well, and then to look at this and see what it does. I owe it to 15-year-old Claire to at least give it a go, I think. So that's it. Those are 5 books, maybe 5.5, that I'm really excited to check out in October and November. I will let you know at the end of autumn if I actually got to any or all of these books. You never know. And then hopefully there will be another video of books that I'm hoping to read in the winter. I'm really hopeful about this new format for reading lists, and I hope people enjoy it because I would love to be able to make more I want to read this now videos. Let me know in the comments below what it is that you're hoping to read for the spooky Halloween season and the rest of autumn as well. If you'd like to see more from me, you can check out a previous video on screen right now. And if you haven't yet, please hit the subscribe button that's on my face for a new video from me every week. I've been Claire, thanks so much for watching, and see you soon.